name's Louise and I want to tell the world my story about me and my identical twin sister. My story is about betrayal. You think you can trust your identical twin with your husband, with your money, with your children. Not in this case. My twin sister betrayed me at the next level, and I want to tell you my story. It all starts in 1967, where Mum gave birth to us in December, and we grew up with very old school parents, very Victorian. We had a disciplined upbringing. We looked exactly the same. The only thing you could tell us apart was a birthmark above my twin sister's eyebrow. Even my mum struggled at times. So we wore the same clothes up until we was around 10 years of age, where we started to be more independent of each other, making our own choices. We didn't wear the same clothes. We had different tastes. And also, we started senior school. We wasn't in the same class, and so our independence was extended with having different set of friends, different circle of friends. Emma was considered a bit more vivacious than myself. I was a little bit timid, to say the least, a little bit shy, I would say. But we went to senior school, and my first memory of things that were to come, the writing was on the wall, was when we was lining up for a music lesson. Her class was lining up next to my class, and someone had said something to my twin sister where she was very offended, and she absolutely kicked off about this comment. The music teacher, Mrs. Parks, come running down the line to pick my twin sister out and took her to the classroom for her to calm down. She calmed her down, settled her down, but little did I know this was things to come. We left school and we both started working at the same pub in Birmingham city centre, Edward Sevens, glass collecting at first, and then promoted to bartending. So we did that for about a year. Emma found a boyfriend, I found a boyfriend, and before I knew it, I was pregnant with my son Danny. So I left the pub to look after Danny. Emma carried on working at the bar, and everything was okay for a while. Then Emma's boyfriend packed her in for some unknown reason. She took it really, really hard and took a massive overdose, which threatened her life. Couldn't understand why she'd, gone to that extreme at the time, but was called into the doctor's office saying that, it was hit and miss whether she could survive this, whether her liver was going to recover from this. I tried to speak to Emma about why she felt she needed to do it, and she just blanked me, just wouldn't really talk about it, and that showed me how indifferent we were, how not connected. Maybe she didn't trust me. I have no idea, but it just showed the divide between us. Fast forward, she did recover from that episode, and suddenly she decided she wanted to go and visit a friend of ours in America who had emigrated to America. She'd actually emigrated to Los Angeles. She decided she wanted to go out there, and she did. So Emma went over to America for a few weeks. Next thing you know, she's come back and said she's getting married to a guy called Rob. Okay, had the blessing from my mum and my dad, and she went back to America to find out that Rob was gay. So, next thing that happened, she's got another announcement to make. She's met another guy called Rob, and she's going to marry Rob too. And she does marry Rob too, and goes on to have 2 beautiful young girls. Fast forward around about 5 years, I decide I want to go and visit my nieces. Scared to death of flying, and so I went to Birmingham Airport, got on that plane, closed my eyes all the way there because I was absolutely terrified, and landed at LAX Airport where my twin sister met me.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Recording. We're working. Okay. So last thing you expected. You thought when you went to America, do you think you were going to sort of like try and build a bit of a relationship with your sister, maybe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen her for years. I wanted to meet my nieces, and I thought that everything would be okay. And it wasn't okay. It couldn't be further from okay. Always expect the unexpected.
That's what they say.
I met my nieces, which is absolutely wonderful. The girls were delighted to see me as well, and kind of knew I was auntie from another country. I went walks with them. The one daughter, Celeste, the younger one, seemed a little bit different, a little bit disturbed. But as my stay went on, I noticed my twin sister didn't treat the girls very well at all. There was one incident in particular I remember. Celeste didn't want her hair brushed. She didn't even want it washed. And Emma lost her patience with her, picked her up from the back of the baby grow, lifted her in the air and dropped her from a height and said, "Now cry," and dropped Celeste on the floor. I was absolutely horrified. I was like, what you doing? What you doing? You can't do that to her. You can't do that to her. And it just didn't faze her at all, that I was really, really upset at what I'd just witnessed. So Emma was going to work all the while, and I was getting slightly bored in the house, and she had said to me that she'd got a chaperone to show me around Los Angeles. And I'd mentioned to her, "Emma, the chaperone, where's the chaperone? You said someone was going to take me around Los Angeles." She responded, "No, I never." And I'm like, "Emma, you did say that?" "No, I never." And we had this massive row about it that she absolutely denied. She'd even had the conversation with me. And because of the row we had over it, I decided to go to her husband's residence on this mobile park place, which was slightly upmarket. And I ended up there with the girls. And to be fair, he treated me really nice, and he'd done me dinner, we had a few beers. The girls seemed happy. The only thing I was uncomfortable with was the girls slept in his bed with him overnight when they'd got their own beds in the mobile home. I found that a little bit unsettling, but I just went with it. And to be fair, Rob made me laugh. He did make me laugh. He was quite a funny bloke. Emma would turn up every now and then in the middle of work shifts and that. And there was one particular day I was outside with the girls, and Bob had gone out, Emma at work, and I was outside in the garden area, and I had to go back in the house for something. And I went to try and open the door, and the doors are slightly different to the UK door handles. And I tried to open the door, and I couldn't open the door to get in. I climbed over the fence of the garden to go around the front door. Thought maybe I can get in that way. So I did that, went round to the front, and I couldn't open that door either. And I was just like, surely it can't be that difficult. Have I locked myself out, you know? So I just had to stay in the garden with the kids and just hope someone turned up. Eventually, Emma turned up at the house, and I'm like, I remember waving at her over the fence, going, Emma, I can't get in the house. The doors weren't open. And she went up to the door and opened the door and went, what, this door? And opened it. And I just couldn't believe. She looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't think too much of it at the time, but I don't know, it just knocked me confidence just a little bit, just chipped away at me just a little bit at that moment. From that moment on, I've just started to feel a little bit iffy about things regarding my twin sister. Got into the house finally, and she popped off to work as per usual, so I was left with the girls. I was kind of like feeling I was being used as a babysitter, which I didn't mind, but you know, the idea was like to go and have a look around Los Angeles at the sites and stuff like that, but obviously it was pretty clear by now that wasn't going to happen with anyone. Bob came back eventually, and he'd done me a lovely dinner, meatballs and spaghetti. It's one of the Americans' favourites, and it was really nice, and we had a few Budweisers with it as well. Great. Okay, the kids went to bed with Bob. I was a bit about that, but just went with it. The next day, Bob wanted to go out again. Oh, will you have the girls? Yeah, I'll have the girls, that's fine. I didn't leave the house this time because I didn't want to get locked out. So he's gone, and we're in the house, and he's gone for hours and hours, and then he came back again. He's like, hey, I'll cook you dinner again. Oh, okay, Bob. Emma, I haven't seen Emma on this day, wherever she's at. And I didn't really care, to be fair, where she was. We had some dinner, and then Bob had put some Budweisers in the cooler for me, and he starts passing me the bottles, which he hadn't before. The previous night, I'd got them myself, but this time he was passing them to me, which was fine. I was fine with that, and to be honest, I do like a Budweiser. So I was sitting on the floor. The TV was on the floor as well, so I was sitting on the floor in the trailer home and watching the TV. And Bob sent the girls off to bed, having a few more Budweisers, and he was passing me still passing me the bottles, and I had around about 4. The next thing I know, I'm watching a black and white movie, and I started to feel drowsy, and that is my last memory I had up until I woke up what I thought was having a dream. I thought I was dreaming, and that dream was someone behind me, although I could feel something against my back. Something in my brain told me this wasn't a dream, and I woke up suddenly to find Bob was raping me from behind. I stood up as quick as I could, absolutely screaming at the top of my voice, "What the fucking hell do you think you're doing?" And I started to run round the house, trying to find a phone. I picked up a phone in the kitchen area, and the line was dead, and I was just like panicking, just panicked, and I ran up the hallway into the bedroom. There was a phone on the nightstand. I picked up that phone was dead as well. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? He come running into the bedroom and he went, hey, I thought we were friends, and I screamed at him, friends don't fucking do that. And I just started panicking, just darting from one room to another. And I eventually got to the door and I went to open the door. Yet again, the door wouldn't open. Can you believe this? I can't open the doors. They've got a little veranda on the side, and I ran to the veranda, and there was like a little hook on the veranda door, and you have to like take the hook out. And I just took the hook out and the door opened. I was like, thank God. Ran down the steps and started running around the trailer park, just banging on doors, and not one person would help me or come to assist me. And then I carried on running down the trailer park, and one lady come out of her trailer and shouted, hey, come here. I went running over to her. She went, use my phone. I went running in, picked the phone up, 911, police emergency, rape, like this. And as I'm saying it on the phone, Bob's come running into the trailer, and he's like, hey, I thought we were friends. And I'm like, keep away from me, screaming at him. And he ran, left the girls apparently. And next thing I know, fast response turned up, police cars everywhere, sirens going off, all the neighbours out, etc. And the police bundled me into the back of one of their cars, put a blanket round me, and I'm just shouting at the police, going, the girls, get the girls. Next thing I know, my twin has appeared like magic, and she's come into the car where I'm sitting, and Fate put her head into the car like that, and I went, Emma, you won't believe what's happened. And she looked at me and she said, have you been drinking? And I just lost it, completely lost the plot. I started screaming, shouting at her, saying, you've treated me like shit ever since I got here. Why are you doing this to me? You bitch, you horrible bitch. And off she went. And what she was actually doing was clearing up the crime scene. I got taken away to a rape unit in Los Angeles, where I underwent a very invasive medical examination. They go into every orifice you've got, even your ears, would you believe? Yeah, I suppose that's it. They said you'd be surprised what men do, especially the women that come in who have been drugged. They thought maybe I'd been drugged with Rohypnol because of how unconscious I was. After the rape unit, I got taken to Los Angeles Police Department, where I was interviewed again by a Detective Kaufman, a lady detective who actually looked like Sheryl Crow. She told me that Bob had done this before to a 14-year-old girl, and they didn't have enough evidence to convict him of that crime. Detective Kaufman went through my version of events and said, you know, she wants him convicted, and would I stay in the country for 3 months for the first hearing. And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did not want to stay in the country any longer than I had to.
So do you think she was upset with you being at the trailer park with her husband?
I don't think she was upset with me at the trailer park. I don't think that. I don't understand why she felt she had to behave that way towards me. I will never understand why. I don't know if she saw me as a threat. Everyone over the years had always said I was the prettiest twin because Emery had suffered a chronic case of acne, which left her very scarred on her face, and she struggled to cover them scars. I don't know if that made her insecure, and she saw me as a threat. I don't know. I really don't know why she treated me that badly.
Tell me how you felt, if you don't mind. Tell me how you felt on the plane. You must have been going through so many emotions, and you got off to stay there for 3 months to try and put this guy away. But I think everyone understand why you wanted to get yourself out of that place in that situation. You wanted to, you didn't feel very safe there.
No, I didn't feel safe at all. If your twin sister can do so much damage to you, you can't trust anyone. And I just didn't want to be in the country any longer. I just felt so isolated, so alone, very, very alone. And if ever you've been to Los Angeles, you'll know it's a massive place. You can't get anywhere without a car either. So if I had to walk anywhere, if I had to go anywhere, I had to walk. It was as simple as that. I didn't know where I was going. There was just no support around me, apart from the British consulate, which was just over the phone, which was helpful. It was helpful.
Good. Just to sort of track back a little bit, when all this happened and after this guy did what he did to you, did you say you felt very alone? Did you want to call your mum? Did you call your mum or your friends? Or
I did. I called my mum, but she didn't seem that supportive. I think my twin may have got in first and give her version of events. And I actually think that my mum sided with my twin.
Why do you think that was? Have you any idea? You must.
I don't understand why my mum would side with her.
Maybe she's lied.
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Put it on you, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that I asked for it, stuff like that. But her lies were because she didn't want to look after her own children. The husband looked after the children.
And when you were in this trailer park with this guy, where did your sister think you were? Did she know that she knew that you were with this guy?
She knew I was with the girls and a husband because we'd just fallen out big time, and I just couldn't be around her alone. It got to that stage with her. So being at the trailer park seemed like the better option.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel unsafe, but I didn't feel safe either, but I hadn't got any other options at that time.
Why wasn't she at the trailer park with her husband?
Because she wanted to go to work and she didn't actually live with him.
Okay, that makes sense.
They lived separately. She just wanted to go out to work, and all she cared about was the American dollar, earning money. It's all she cared about. That come first in her life was money.
And so, do you think she was upset with you being at the trailer park with her husband?
I don't think she was upset with me at the trailer park. I don't think that. I don't understand why she felt she had to behave that way towards me. I will never understand why. I don't know if she saw me as a threat. Everyone over the years had always said I was the prettiest twin because Emery had suffered a chronic case of acne, which left her very scarred on her face, and she struggled to cover them scars. I don't know if that made her insecure, and she saw me as a threat. I don't know. I really don't know why she treated me that badly. So I didn't speak to my mum for eight long years, and I turned up at her house. Very spontaneous decision of mine, and that meeting didn't go very well. She was quite distant from me, so I didn't stay very long. So I went away and carried on life. In the meantime, I saw an ad in a newspaper, and the ad said, "Do you hate your twin? If so, we want to hear from you." And I responded to that ad. They got in touch with me and asked about my story, and I told them the basics and that, and they wanted to hear every detail. And so we talked about it over a few weeks. Weeks turned into months, and they said they wanted a happy ending. I said, "It's not going to happen." They said, "We'll stop your research, because it isn't going to happen." I spoke to someone about this predicament I was in, and they said, "Oh, they want the copyright." So I got my own copyright and wrote the book. So if anyone out there has been in a similar predicament, read my book. It's an actual survivor's guide to betrayal, any sort of betrayal, and how I overcome all what I'd gone through, my resilience and my disciplined lifestyle, which actually shone through, and you can read all about it for yourself.
Thank you for talking to me today. I'm really grateful that you shared your story with me. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Anything else you want to go through?
Just if anyone's struggling with anything that's happened to them in a similar way, just reach out. There's always someone you can talk to. If not, put it down on paper. Great therapy has been for me.
Someone's alarm is going off. I think it's mine. Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much for listening to my story, and if anyone out there finds themselves in a similar situation, please reach out. There's always someone you can turn to. You have the ability to overcome these really tragic situations, so please reach out. There's always someone you can talk to.